Even the GOP and MAGA senators and people in Donald Trump's cabinet have to acknowledge the obvious, the deep stupid of Donald Trump causing the dumbest recession in history. Even Marco Rubio, Secretary of State at a NATO summit in Brussels. NATO? I thought they wanted to put NATO out of business. Well, he was there, and he had this to say about the crashing of the economy.
No, their economies are not crashing. Their markets are reacting to a dramatic change in the global order in terms of trade. And so what happens is pretty straightforward. If you're a company and you make a bunch of your products in China, and all of a sudden shareholders or people that play the stock market realize that it's going to cost a lot more to produce in China, your stock is going to go down. But ultimately, the markets, as long as they know what the rules are going to be moving forward, and as long as that's set and you can sustain where you're going to be, the markets will adjust. Businesses around the world, including in trade and global trade, they just need to know what the rules are. Once they know what the rules are, they will adjust to those rules. So I don't think it's fair to say economies are crashing. Markets are crashing because markets are based on the stock value of companies who today are embedded in modes of production that are bad for the United States. We have to be a country that thinks we're the largest consumer market in the world, and yet the only thing we export is services. And we need to stop that. We need to get back to a time where we're a country that can make things, and to do that, we have to reset the global order of trade. We can't continue to be a country that doesn't make things. We have to be able to make things to provide jobs for Americans. That's it. It's that simple. China is an example. I mean, it's outrageous. I mean, they don't consume anything. All they do is export and flood and distort markets, in addition to all the tariffs and barriers they put in place. So the president rightly has concluded that the current status of global trade is bad for America and good for a bunch of other people, and he's going to reset it, and he's absolutely right to do it.
I love the callousness and the cavalier attitude of the Trump administration officials, but they'll recalibrate. It's a glitch. It's an adjustment. It'll be worse before it's better. Yes, for the American middle class and for the consumers who are bracing for a new round of inflation and a near certain recession caused by Donald Trump's policies. Thank you, Marco Rubio. Another non-economist within Donald Trump's inner circle is heard from. Let's stay on Marco Rubio for a minute. Marco Rubio's biggest claim to fame was he was the youngest House Speaker in Florida legislator history. Okay? He also was a partner for a hot minute in a law firm that I was a part of. They put him up on the masthead. They gave him a salary. He never showed up. So no-show job. His financial problems are notorious. You know, the debt that he's in, the houses that he bought on 100% credit. I mean, for him, who can barely balance a family checkbook, to look the American people in the eye and tell them, don't worry, it'll be okay. It will just recalibrate. The Chinese have already fired back with a 34% real retaliatory tariff and putting 20 or 30 countries on American companies on a no trade list. And what happened with the markets? Because we're at the opening bell, markets are tumbling, meaning the consumer confidence tumbling is not far behind it. It was already in the crapper. We're going to be down, by the time the week is over, the closing bell today, we're going to be down over 10% in stock price. So whatever you thought you had in your 401k, whatever you thought you had in other places, they're gone. 10% wiped out overnight in a COVID-like decimation of the markets. There's no other equivalency. What is it with Donald Trump and wiping out household value and assets? Is this the change we were waiting for? The pocket change that's left in my pocket because of Donald Trump's harebrained ideas? So harebrained that world economists are slapping their forehead. Nobody could figure out what reciprocal tariffs meant because they couldn't figure out the percentage. Then they figured out the percentage. It's a third grade formula that doesn't even work. And now Donald Trump is scrambling back because Wall Street did not expect him to actually impose the tariffs on Liberation Day. They expected him to negotiate using that as leverage like he did Mexico and Canada. Nope, he imposed them. And as a response, Wall Street freaked out. If anything, they are They're not overcompensating. They're undercompensating. I think the market's going to tank even further. And the recovery period, he's only got 2 years in office before the midterms. How he thought he was going to be able to pull the tablecloth off the table of the American economy without wrecking all of China, I have no idea. What he's trying to do, which is to bring jobs back to America, he will never be able to accomplish by the midterms. And the American voter and public and middle class need to punish him as a result. They didn't contemplate that China wasn't going to fire back with a 34% across the board tariff themselves, that other countries, including the European Union, including France, were going to do the exact same thing. And that sound you're hearing is the stalling out of the global economy engine created by Donald Trump. Because we are supposed to be the straw that stirs the drink of the global economy. Now, with all of the sell-offs, oil sinking, the only thing that's doing well, and this is very curious, is the bond market, because people are they got money, they want to take it out of the equities, and they want to put it into debt. Debt is bonds. That's, if you're looking at Wall Street and the Great Divide, on the stock side, that's equities. That means you own a share of stock. You're not a creditor of the company. You're an owner or an investor in the company. On the other side is the bond market. Bonds are debt. You're buying the debt of the company. You are a creditor. They owe you money pursuant to a debt instrument we call a bond. There's a lot of different things out there, a lot of different products that they put together that are hybrids and all that. But that's really the world divides equities and debt and bonds. The bond market, different type of market. Money that's becoming a bull market. People are rushing into the bond market. They're running away from the bear market, right? On the bond market, you have there's a handful of brokers and traders that make money on the volatility of the bond market. Guess which one? Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, his family, or he, own a company called Cantor Fitzgerald. They're one of the leaders in bond brokerage, or as they say in the UK, broking. Yeah, speaking of broking, we're becoming broke. So brokering bonds is a major business of Cantor Fitzgerald and BGC, his other publicly traded company, which, by the way, dropped 9% yesterday, shaving 9% off his couple of $1 billion of family value. Yeah. So is that why they did it? They did it so Howard Lutnick's BGC and Cantor Fitzgerald would make a lot of money in the bond market, because brokering, they don't take a position. They're just getting a commission on the buy and the sell. The more volatility, the better the company. The better the company performs. Is that why we did it? I mean, we did a lot of warped things because of Elon Musk and Tesla. Tesla also in the tank. So when you have people like Marco Rubio, who can't maintain his own family budget, telling me that it's obviously terrible, but we're going to recalibrate, run. That's why gold is up to like record prices, because people are looking for some commodity, some investment to make that's stable, because the stock market's not going to be. I remember all those people on social media when Kamala Harris was running, and there'd be a little bit of gyration in the stock market. People would say, "Oh, look at my 401k under Biden. Oh, the last month, I lost 1%. 1%? How about shaving off all of the improved value in February and now well below our historic highs in the stock market? How about that? How about you just woke up this morning to 10%? Somebody just sucked 10% out of your bank accounts, out of your financial accounts. How about that? Yeah. So the question I have for the voters is, you've got to be calculating this as part of what you're going to do at the midterms, and what you're going to do when there's special elections that come up and any type of event where you can pull a lever and vote. You have to hold the bastards accountable. The middle class has to hold Donald Trump accountable for all of the depraved things he's done as the steward of our money, as the steward of our economy. If you don't hold him accountable for that, what are you holding him accountable for? Don't tell me that the people voted for Donald Trump in large numbers and beat Kamala Harris because they wanted to see people shackled and chained, kidnapped and deported to El Salvador. That can't be it. That can't be what our America is about. Getting fired up on this particular hot take. So I'm going to continue to follow it. You've come to the right place. Legal AF at the intersection of law, politics, and the world economy. And we do it like nobody else. Thanks for being here. Hit the free subscribe button. Till my next report, I'm Michael Popok. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok Firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok Firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.